So, how do you know when to step forward to intervene for your student or when to step back? And what do family members need to know?
Well, I always wanted family members to know. Uh, I asked them to do their research to understand what Noonan syndrome is. I asked them to understand that Tiffany processes information differently. So while you may say one thing, her brain may tell her that it's something else. And so if she brings something back to you or she does something that's adverse to what you asked, I asked them to kindly to repeat it. And so now I have learned to ask Tiffany, Tiffany, what did you hear me say? And if she repeats it the way I said it, I know she understands it. If she comes up with something different, then I'll say, no, that's not quite what I meant. Let me repeat it to you again. Um, and so I just want them to always know that I didn't expect them to love her the way that I loved her, but I did expect them to always to be patient with her, to show her some compassion and allow her to be able to make her mistakes. Mm-hmm. And I says, but before you try to correct her, make sure you connect with her first. That's what I usually try to do. Before I try to go all off and say, well, you didn't do it like this and you should have done it this way. I try to connect with her so that I can focus and get her full attention. And then once I have her attention and we've made that connection, then I try to lovingly and kindly correct. What was the other part of the question?
Yeah, no, that was great. The first part was, how do you know when to step forward to intervene for your student or when you should step back?
Well, since I got her at a very early age of 3, I knew I had to be her advocate then because I had to definitely be her voice in early childhood to make sure she got the services that she needed, her OT, her PT, her speech, and to make sure that her IEP was adequately documented, and what was documented was what she received. I have found that in some cases, they'll document one thing and then try to give you something else. I had to stay on top of the administration. And then having worked in education myself as an administrator of a school district, I was very familiar with the Illinois School Code. And so I knew what I was entitled to. I never backed down. I didn't say I was abrasive, but I can be aggressive. And so for those first 15 years, I was her advocate until she finished high school. Once she graduated from high school, and I started to look at her a little differently as a young adult. And I said, the only way she's gonna ever learn to become more responsible and accountable is if I let her step up and to begin to advocate for herself. So she took a self-advocacy class with State Voc Rehab last summer. And so one of the things I always encourage her to do is to do things on her own. For instance, when we go to the doctor now, of course, they don't want to talk to me anymore because she's over 18. And so I will ask her, do you want me to go in with you? If she says no, then I sit there. If she says yes, I go in with her. But I ask the doctor to make sure that he addressed the questions he has to Tiffany. She knows that she knows what allergies she has. She knows that she's on no medication. And I think that she can pretty much explain what her needs are at the doctor's office. I hurt here, I ache here, I don't feel good here. My last menstrual cycle was this, but this happened. Another example is she's going to be starting to work on Wednesday, working for Girl Scouts of America. And they want to set her up for automatic payroll for direct deposit. And so I told her, I said, well, you need to call your bank and let them get their routing number and verify your checking account number so that they can make sure that your check is deposited correctly. Her response to me was, well, can't you do it? I said, yeah, I could do it, but it's not my money and I'm not working for it. So you need to do it. So she called GTE. She got a great customer service rep, and she explained to them that she would be working and that she wanted her checks deposited directly to her checking account. She said, not my savings account, my checking account. And so then I'm kind of sitting there with a little cue card with what to ask. And then she says, oh, by the way, what is your routing number? And I explained to her that a routing number for a bank, like a social security number for her. Nobody else has that number. It identifies who you are, like it identifies the bank. So I'm finding that if I kind of preference it and explain to her what direct deposit was, how convenient it would be, I think I go through more of the informational kind of explaining kind of things to her, not taking it for granted that she knows what direct deposit means, that she knows what an ACH is. So I try to explain those things beforehand. And then I ask her, do you have any questions? Then I'll tell her, okay, now this is your task to do. So what I try to do is to give her all of the information that I think that she needs to be able to have an intelligent conversation, whether it's on the phone or in person. When she does her banking, I stay in the car. I don't go in with her anymore. When she makes her deposits or makes a withdrawal, she goes in and she does it on her own. I just preface it by saying, make sure you get your receipt. Always check your receipt. We've talked about a budget, how to do a budget. We've talked about when she starts work next week, I expect her to start tithing, giving the church, giving God his 10%. So we always have these ongoing conversations, and I talk to her as an adult. So I feel like what I'm saying to her is enough for her to be able to go out and advocate efficiently on her own. But I always let her know, I am your backup. If you need me, I am always here. But it's up to you to take care of your business.